Hello everyone, happy Saturday. So today I want to talk about nonviolence and nonviolence in a specific way, a specific perception that I have, or not perception, but perspective that I have, and that I'm going to be sharing in my yoga workshop tomorrow. So nonviolence, the Sanskrit word for nonviolence is ahimsa, and nonviolence really means love, ultimately means love. And the specific area in which I'm going to talk about nonviolence is in the area of, since it's sort of a running theme for me, the area of our pursuit in life and working towards what we want, fulfilling our divine purpose, our mission on this planet, in this life. And the ways in which we can either approach that mission, approach our purpose with violence, or without, or with love, right? So I'll give you the examples of the ways that I feel, and in my perspective, that we approach, and we can approach our life's mission with violence. So one of those ways is obviously, the most obvious is pushing to get what you want, pushing really, really, really hard without gracefulness, without ease. So at the expense of yourself, your health, at the expense of others, just really trying to tackle the next thing, never really living in the present moment, which eventually causes stress and often disappointment, because if you're constantly trying to tackle the next thing, then you will be disappointed if things don't happen as quickly as you would like to, right? I'm guilty of that at times, or in the past, where I felt like I needed to have what I wanted right away, and when it didn't come, I was very disappointed. I would get frustrated, angry, which would also lead to depression and things like that. So that isn't the most obvious act of violence, and we see that in everyday life. People who seem to have everything but seem to be very, very unhappy. They had that aggressive mentality to acquire what they wanted, but are now feeling like there's something missing in their life, because it's not about getting the goals, right? It's about the process, it's about the journey, as I've talked about before. So the other way that we inflict violence on our life's path is a less obvious way, and it is the opposite of doing things with force. It's not exploring your life enough. And I see many, many examples of this. This is what I see most frequently in my life, is individuals who feel as though they're sort of like a victim, like life has dealt them a horrible hand, right, of cards. And they don't explore enough. They don't follow their heart. They don't allow themselves to live from a deeper place, from an inner truth, and use their intuitions and their insights and follow that, right? So it's a lot of the things that I talk about, following your joys and living a life of enthusiasm and understanding that there's a deeper level of purpose for our lives, and that we're not really living our truth if we don't follow those things. So that also is an act of violence, because you're not acting out of love for yourself. You're not acting out of awareness, which ultimately, love is awareness, is presence, is living in the present moment. So if we're living in the present moment, then we are living a life of nonviolence, ultimately, because when you're conscious of your actions and the things that you're doing and how you're living this life, then you're aware of how it affects you, how it affects your neighbors, how it affects the people that you love, how it affects the planet, all of those things. So those two things, moving and pushing through life with force, and yet not exploring enough. So what examples do you see most of? Mostly for me, I see the second example. People who are not willing to really explore the acreage of their life, not willing to see and look into their heart and listen to their heart and take those chances, right, and follow what it is that they believe. Both things cause discord. They cause disharmony in our lives. They both have the same result. They both are stressful because we're stressed and unhappy when we're not living a fulfilling life, and we're stressed and unhappy when we're not able to slow down and appreciate how beautiful life already is. So those are two ways in this perspective that I'm sharing that we inflict violence upon ourselves. Tomorrow I'm going to discuss how we inflict violence upon ourselves in our yoga practice, if in fact you do a yoga practice. But it's not limited to yoga. It's also, if an exercise. So basically, in terms of taking care of our well-being and our body, there's ways in which we inflict violence on ourselves. Both ways apply, pushing and not pushing enough. So tomorrow I'll share that with you. I hope you had a wonderful Saturday, and I look forward to speaking with you tomorrow morning. Have a wonderful evening.